Morning Year 5s, it's Monday and it's our reading, so let's have a little look. We've got a couple of poems this week. As you notice, there's some poetry in English as well, so the two go together quite well. We've got Dr. Deduction, so we're using some inference and deduction. So remember, whatever you think, you've got to say because it says this. So, first one, explain what you think each verse represents. So for example, paragraph 1, well that should be V1, shouldn't it, because it's verses. So verse 1, I think it represents this because. So if you look at the first one, twilight darkens, a curlew calls, along the sea sands damp and brown, the traveller hastens towards a town. So in there, twilight darkens, or twilight is the evening becoming night. So if twilight's getting darker, it means it's getting dark, isn't it? And the traveller's hasting back to town, so he's getting home. So I think that one represents the evening and night falling. If you look at the next one, darkness settles on rooftops. That's then night, isn't it? And then the last one, the morning breaks. So you can think. I think verse 1 represents evening because of this. I think verse 2 represents nighttime because of this. And I think verse 3 represents morning because of this. Okay, because each verse is a time of the day. Next one. Why does every verse end with the repeating line, the tide rises, the tide falls? And you'll get this a lot, that as you get older, the question might be more like, what effect does the repeated line have on the reader? So, well, actually I could have put it like that. So as you read it, you've got, and the tide rises, the tide falls, the tide rises, the tide falls, the tide rises, the tide falls. So what is that doing? Why is that repeated there? You've got to think about what it is. No matter what is happening, the tide rises, the tide falls. That's what happens in the ocean. It's an unstoppable force that humans cannot have any input on. Okay? It's a natural occurrence. So whatever happens, the tide rises, the tide falls. Whatever happens, the tide rises, the tide falls. It's always happening. Okay? So that's why it's repeating. Why might the traveller hasten towards town? Well, as we've already discussed, it's getting dark. You don't want to be out at sea when it's dark, or out on the beaches when it's dark. So because twilight is darkening, the traveller hastens towards town. He wants to get back home. What do you think the line, efface the footprints in the sand, means? So, it's here, look. Now, don't know what efface means, but don't expect you to. Let's have a read. The little waves with their soft white hands efface the footprints in the sand. So there's footprints in the sand, the tide is rising and falling, as we know, and the little waves do something to the footprints in the sand. You could have a guess and say, well, maybe it gets rid of them then. Okay? So efface is to get rid of them, to rub them out, to clean, to get rid of them. And what are the soft white hands of the waves? Well, that'll be the foam that appears on the crest of the waves, isn't it? Okay, so a couple of questions, a short text, but you've got poetry is one that you've really got to use your Dr. Deduction on. So I think this because, and that's the point of a poem, it's to make you think. Okay, it's to enjoy something, it's to describe something, and it's to make you think. Okay, so there you go, short and sweet.